I want to answer the questions that you guys are having about why I was explaining how I was almost killed disconnecting a ground rod from a commercial service in the city. Okay, it wasn't rural, it was in the city. So let me explain. I made a quick little diagram here because I understand that it doesn't make a lot of sense while it happened, but maybe this will make it more clear. So I'm working in building number 2. Okay, building number 2 has 1200 amps. 120 208 volt. It came in underground through manholes in the city into the service entrance. Okay? What I did was, with the utility company, we completely removed the power from this building. This building went completely dark. I verified there were no life safety generators, there was no solar, there was no alternate service attached to this building. So bam, we disconnect the power. Okay, and now, because I'm with a crew of guys, we're starting to disassemble and remove the in-service in its entirety because it was 125 years old. Now, this was the ground rod I was mentioning I saw in the corner. So what we were doing is, once service power was removed, and I verified it with my fluke voltmeter in 87, I was confident that there was no power in the building. So the ground rod was attached actually with a 2-aught cable. It was a very large ground rod. And that was connected to the building steel in a bridge that also went to the service, right? So it was, it was bonded at that bridge and also to the ground rod. What happened was, when we removed the power and I tried to remove the acorn and remove that 2-aught wire from this ground rod, this is where I was almost killed and electrified. The amount of current that was coming off of that wire was coming from this location here. Now, had I not disconnected it from here, I probably wouldn't be here today, guys. Had I disconnected it at the bridge, which I was debating on doing, then I could have gotten in the path and I wouldn't be here today. So this is what happened. The sister building, building number 1, is a duplicate building, also 125 years old, had a 1200 amp service, but the neutral was compromised. So what was happening is, all the single phase loads were being forced to use the building ground. So it was starving for the return path, and it was all the 120 volt systems were coming down through the neutral, which wasn't there, and somebody had disconnected or added a bonding jumper so that the neutral could be bypassed to the ground. So here's what was happening. All this building's current was coming down through this ground rod and jumping over through the earth to my ground rod. So now what happened was, when I was disconnecting this wire, I'm disconnecting the neutral from this building. So because there was an issue in this building, it almost took my life working on this building. I don't know if that makes it clear. So again, current does transfer through ground. So the neutrals were all the building steel on here was seeing that neutral current. And additionally, it was going down into the ground, and it was stealing because mine was the least path of resistance. Now, had the buildings been farther apart, either the neutral wouldn't have worked or this would have starved somewhere else. But it was jumping over, so the neutral current was coming over across into this ground rod. Now, I couldn't see below it. I couldn't see if it was connected at some point. I'm assuming it wasn't. So again, when I disconnected the wire here, I'm removing the entire single-phase neutral load from that building. This was a completely de-energized service. We were in the dark. I had headlight on. We had a small generator for some basic lighting. So doing this work was very startling. Now, I've been doing electric work since 1990 on my own as a licensed electrical contractor, and it was 100% my fault. Why? Because I didn't use my non-contact voltage tester. So here I teach you guys, and I'm even promoting a non-contact voltage tester, and I actually would have one hanging right here. I guarantee when that happened, I had it right here. But who would have ever thought to use it? Because you get complacent. So, guys, whenever you are disconnecting any ground, from a ground rod, a ground bridge, you never know if there's current running through it. And this could also happen in a residential service. Garrett Henderson, Sorry for the long video, but I hope that clarified some of your questions for you new guys. Yes, you can easily be killed by working with grounds and ground rods on unenergized services. I'll see you on the next one.